What's going on YouTube? This is Destiny Heroic, and I've got a Cardfight Vanguard deck profile for you today. This is Gold Paladin Liberator, and it's going to be a Garmore deck. I wanted to focus on Garmore because every other deck is pretty much focused around the Gancelot Alfred Break Ride skill, and I wanted to do something that used this guy because Garmore is really good. Economically speaking, his effect is better than Alfred's superior calling effect. Alfred has to spend 4 counterblast to get 2 free gold paladins, and Garmore can spend 3 and get 5. So I wanted to build the deck around this guy because he's just really good. And you'll notice that it's not a break ride based deck because Gancelot doesn't really mesh well with Garmore if you want to get his ability off faster. But the idea is you can summon an entire field without using your hand and wind up with a very big defensible hand that you can use on the following turns. So without further ado, let's get going. Obviously I'm using the 4 Garmores. This is your ideal first grade 3 ride. At 4 damage you'll flip over his effect and get between 3 and 5 free rear guards. Not much more to say about that. The second grade 3 that I'm using is 4 copies of Alfred. Alfred is really good. In this deck, the idea is to call out a bunch of rear guards with Garmore, and then the following turn ride Alfred and gain his limit break. Plus fill any holes that the opponent gets rid of during their turn. In terms of grade 2, I'm using 4 Falons. He's just a big attacker, 12k if there's a Liberator on the board. He's really good. Not much more I can say about that. Because this is a Garmore deck, the lineup is going to look a lot different. I'm using 4 copies of Bagpipe Angel. Bagpipe Angel, when it's called from the deck, will pump 2 other Liberator rear guards by 2,000. So most of these units are designed to gain skills off of the Garmore limit break and then just basically pump your entire field. So that's what these are for. And finally, 3 Escrods. Escrod is really good to play as the grade 2 Vanguard because you can start gaining free rear guards. And for grade 1s, I'm using the obligatory 4 no guards. Not much I can say about these. With all the break rides and limit breaks going on, you really can't afford not to run these. And the reason I would definitely not run less than 4 is because you will occasionally end up losing these to damage or even calling them. It's very likely that you'll call at least 1 during your game off of the Garmore limit break. So you want to actually get them into your hand at some point, so we're running a maximum 4 copies. Using 4 copies of Bruno. Bruno, his skill is when you call a gold paladin from the deck, when you superior call it, he will gain 3k per unit called. So if he's on the board when Garmore goes off, he'll gain 12,000. So that's why we're using 4 copies of this guy. If you can't clear your field, or if your field isn't clear when Garmore's limit break is going to go off, then it's really good to have this guy in the background. Because we're doing so much superior calling from the deck, we would like to be able to gain card advantage as well as field advantage. So we're playing 4 Josephus. If he's called from the deck, Soul Blast a Liberator and draw a card. Every card in this deck is a Liberator, so we'll never have that ability dead. And finally, I'm using 2 copies of Marin. Originally, this slot was 2 of the 10k booster. What's his name? Little Liberator. I can't remember his name. Lou. But where I was usually off of the Garmore limit break, you'll end up putting a 5k behind the Vanguard, and the 10k is really only good behind the Vanguard. Plus, you won't always get the ideal 2 grade 2s and 3 grade 1s in the back field that you want to have. So it's nice to have a rear guard that can operate as both a front row and a back row. So that's why I'm using 2 copies of Marin. So in terms of triggers, I'm using just a standard 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal engine. Because Garmore is going to generate so much advantage, you don't need to run extra draw triggers to stabilize your hand. Because Garmore will fill up the field without depleting your hand. So you'll have the hand that you had when you called them, and you'll be able to use that for defending. So there's really not much to say about that. And because of the starter and the Brunos that I'm using, you can hit very high attack numbers, and you want to back up high attack numbers with critical triggers. So the starter that I'm using is Cheer Up Trumpeter. I did not go the route of using the Spring Breeze Messenger as is typical in Gold Paladin decks, even Liberator decks nowadays. Because A, it's not a Liberator, and if you call an early Josephus, you might not be able to use its skill. But B, when you ride Garmore and you have nothing else on your field, you can put this in Soul, and then when Garmore activates his limit break, you'll call 5 units, and Garmore will gain 15,000. So it's basically like doing a break ride, but you're doing it a turn earlier, because you don't need to ride 2 grade 3s, you only need to ride the 1. Plus it fills up, it clears out a spot for you to put something better onto your board. So yeah, so that's the deck. I hope I don't get too much hate for doing something that isn't Gancelot, Blaster Blade, Alfred based. But Garmore is a really good card, and I wanted to do a deck that maxes out on him and optimizes the use of his limit break. So tell me what you think. Check out some of my videos, because I have used this deck on some of the videos already. Check out my videos. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching. Peace.